Hey, that's CJ on the track.
Test. Okay, we back. Black Scully on check. Got a little CFB Nation graphic tee on check. Welcome to another marvelous episode. Forgot to turn my mixer on. It is Wednesday, July 16th. I told you guys yesterday I am in a wedding this weekend, so I had to go with a little bit of an earlier live episode today because I have to go to Maryland this evening for the wedding rehearsal. Thank God it is in the summer, because they know I'm not going to one in the fall. It is what it is, and ain't nothing personal, man. You know, the fall is for college football, so I am not going to a wedding in the fall. Please take that however you feel like you need to take that. It is what it is. I don't care. I'm not going to the wedding in the fall, so super excited today. Let's get on to today's docket. We're going to be talking about today in our Into the News segment, Jordan Rodgers drops Arch Manning, the QB5. Not that him and Paul Finebaum exchanged some words, but they had some differences of opinion as it pertained to Arch Manning. We'll discuss that. Kirby Smart, he had some thoughts about the college football playoff politics, and I'm interested to kind of hear more about that. Also, AJ McCarron rewinds the infamous Johnny Manziel Madden Academy story, and that was 12 years ago. So I think that's a great story. I think it's a cautionary tale. Of course, Paul Finebaum and Cole Kubelik weigh in on a Arch Manning media circus, as my boy Jalen Wilson has said. The Manning media cartel, it is live, it is in effect, it's crazy. I think the media circus around this kid is probably bigger than anybody that I have seen. Granted, this sport has grown to new levels as it pertains to how much coverage that it gets now. Josh Heupel sets the tone for a young Tennessee squad. We'll talk about that today. And then USA Today, of course, does a full 2025 SEC Power Rankings. So that's everything we are getting into today. Governor of College Football, hashtag GoCFB. CFB Nation, your only college football destination. Let's get it. Governor of College Football, we're going to recap ACC.
Hey, that's
Two
CJ
great
on
defensive
the
minds.
track.
They have to be better on that side of the ball. This is our Into the News segment. I want to shout out Bull Rush, man. Shout out to Bull Rush. W Bull Rush. I think we're going to do a press release later about, them sponsoring us for ACC and American Media Days. Shout out to Trent. Shout out to Neil. They're really good guys. Shout out to them. We believe in them as much as they believed in us. And I think when you are looking for partnerships in this business, I think the belief system has to be equal. I think, they need to have full faith in your ability, and you need to have full faith in their ability. And I think that's, key to everything. So we're just about 6 days actually removed from the start of ACC Media Days, as you will see a lot of my coverage, especially starting tomorrow, which will maybe be the last episode of the week. I think I might do a Saturday morning episode. That Saturday will be, actually, no, I won't. I got a bachelor party to throw Friday. No, it's not happening. It's just not happening. It's going to be a blast. I'm going to have a hangover. It's just not happening. But let's get into some of the headlines that we'll be talking about today. Arch Manning versus Jordan Rodgers. I'm not sure how this got started, the way it got started. But, it is what it is. So, I think sometimes when you're in the media, you have such a strong feeling, and you don't get it misconstrued. Jordan Rodgers really knows ball. And I think sometimes you see something and you feel the need to say something, right? I think in this case, that is 100% what happened. He saw something, he felt the need to say something, and it just didn't come off correctly. Like, I think he truly believes that, Arch Manning is a spectacular player, but what he's saying is, hey, there are other great players in this conference, and I feel like he feels that those players are being omitted. So sometimes when you have a take and you develop a take, and it's something that you've been working on, and I feel like this is one of those things he's been kind of working on for a little while. I think he was just so amped up and so excited about it that it just came off as, instead of it coming off as, him having a sound take and he wanted his take to pop, in a way it came off as hating. And things should never come off as hating. Like they never should. Like, if we being honest, sounding like a hater is crazy. You never want to sound like a hater in this business. But, I think there's lessons to be learned, from both sides of this thing, if I'm being honest. And we'll just have to look more into this. I think that, Steve Sarkisian had something to say about this. Also, Paul Finebaum had something to say about this. And what he had to say was pretty interesting, to be honest with you. He was like, we were fans of, we were rooting for Jordan Rodgers, during his time on the Bachelorette, which he ended up winning the Bachelorette. And him and a young lady from the Bachelorette, I think, were wed in 2022. But he's like, with this, he's like, he don't know. So it seems like what Jordan Rodgers was trying to say was like, hey, there's great quarterbacks in the SEC. Let's appreciate all of them equally. But Jordan, this is college football. We had a right to appreciate anybody how we feel the need to appreciate anyone. As a member of the media, it's your job to be honest with your fan base. It's your job to, hype up the players that you believe you're going to hit on. Sawyer Robertson is one of those players I've been hyping up all offseason because I felt like he wasn't getting the hype that he deserved. Now, if he comes this year and he doesn't perform well, hey, I'll definitely have to eat a lot of crow with that. And it is what it is, because it's not going to be the first nor the last time I have a bad take. But at the end of the day, we're hyping up the sport. We're hype about the sport. It's middle of July. We're really about 5 weeks away from this thing starting on week 0, and we get really good football on week 0. So I think it's important that, when we look at this and when we analyze it, that we analyze this properly. Like, yes, Jordan Rodgers has a right to say, everybody, that, Arch Manning is, 5th on his list for SEC quarterbacks, and he's basing that on what he's seen from the other quarterbacks, the limited play he's seen in Arch Manning. And guess what? It is what it is, to be, 100% honest with you. I got a little bit of a summer cold. I don't know what's going on. I gotta get right. But anyway, he has the right to have that feeling and that belief. Like, when I did my top 10 quarterbacks, I didn't have Arch Manning in my top 10 quarterbacks. It was based on what I felt they were at this moment in time. Like, it wasn't based on, it was based on what I seen last season. It wasn't based on, any future projections. Of course, if I did future projections, Arch Manning would have been right there at the, top of the list. But, at the end of the day, it was based on what I seen last year, how I feel about teams headed into the season, and that's why he was omitted from the list. And Greg McElroy was another person who did something very similar. He omitted him from the list just because he kind of wanted to celebrate those players from last season. Moving on to the next story in our Into the News segment. Kirby Smart on college football playoff politics. I thought this is really, really interesting. I truly do. And also, I forgot to mention that my boy Jalen, actually I did mention it in his Arch Manning Media Cartel. Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to take an ad break. Give me a second. Look at you out here using all these other sports books and you ain't even using the best one. Bet US. Get 125% match bonus when you use the promo code CFB Nation. Yeah, you heard me correctly. 125% match bonus on your first deposit using that code CFB Nation. We know that college football is in the offseason. Even though we don't celebrate that, CFB Nation, we do college football 24/7. But there are plenty of things for you guys to bet on.
Who will have the most wins? OKC Thunder or Cleveland Cavaliers? Can Luka and LeBron make it all mesh to make it to the play-in tournament? Maybe you're a college basketball guy ready to risk it all for Florida to make it to the big dance.
Basketball isn't for you? Maybe you're a football guy. Well, BetUS got you covered with this year's UEFA Championship. Can Liverpool or Barcelona win it all?
Alrighty, back to the regularly scheduled program. And I swear, summer colds are the worst. I'm going to definitely have to go sit in that sauna today and get these impurities out of my body. I do not know what this is. I rarely get sick due to my diet. But anyway, let's get back to regularly scheduled programming. We were talking about Kirby Smart and his take or his thought on the college football playoff. And he was pretty much saying, like, hey, the best teams should get into the college football playoff as it pertains to, I think SEC's and Big Ten's kind of Cold War and how it kind of, I don't want to say escalated, but it's just the ideology difference. Tony Petitti has openly supported or has openly been against the 5+11 format. The SEC are, of course, a huge proponent of the 5+11 format, but, I think Tony Petitti wants AQs for more teams. So I think it was, what is it, the 4-2-2-1, whatever the what is it, 4-4-2-2? Yeah, the 4-4-2-2-1. And I think the SEC has a huge issue with that. That means ACC will get 2 teams in automatically. That means that the Big 12 will get 2 teams in automatically. So we're up to 4. SEC will get 4. Now we're up to 8. Now the Big 10 will get 4. Now we're up to 12. Then the G5, the highest, ranked G5 team at the last ranking, they get 1. So now you're looking at just 2 slots, remaining where, hey, SEC feels like this 5, plus 11, fits us, a lot better as far as what they're trying to do. So I feel like where a lot of the differences or kind of the issue comes in, if we're being honest, is, it comes in, with the point that, hey, what's going on here? Things ain't quite right. And he said, Paul Finebaum said, hey, I'm sorry, Kirby Smart said, hey, I want the best teams in, not just the best records. And, that's why, Big Ten pushes for the guaranteed bids per conference, and SEC towards a 5+11 model. And Kirby Smart cut right through the politics. He said, let's be honest, who are you taking, Indiana or Ole Miss, Indiana or Alabama? So he kept it blunt. I think it's one of those things where I don't know if I could say that the SEC has ever been on edge, but I feel like they're on edge. No appearances in the last 2, college football playoff championships, not even an appearance. And I feel like in some people's eyes, the Big Ten is, starting to take the kind of the, if you playing tug of war, starting to take some of the rope from the SEC as far as the dominance. Now, let's be clear. There's no gauntlet tougher in college football than the SEC gauntlet. But has the Big Ten closed the gap? Absolutely. The Big Ten has certainly closed the gap. And anybody else who says differently, and hey, in some people's eyes, they've not only closed the gap, they surpassed the gap as well. So I think that's interesting. AJ McCarron on the Manning Passing Academy. And as you see, I completely butchered that. That looks crazy. I didn't even see it, but that's why I don't need to be sick trying to go live. But anyway, that was a really funny story. It was actually the first time I had heard the story. I didn't know anything about it. And it's pretty funny because, like I said, I never heard this story before. And they went down, memory lane. It's, 2013, the hype is real. Controversy was even more so. Now, 12 years later, A.J. McCarron spilled the full story of Johnny Manziel's legendary ejection from the Manning Passing Academy. Turns out that Johnny Football really did miss the 8 a.m. counselor meeting. McCarron was left to explain things to Archie Manning, who eventually made the call to send Manziel home. The kicker, Manziel, told reporters it was McCarron's fault for not waking him up. And McCarron's response was, come on. And, of course, McCarron would ultimately, get the last laugh and a win against them. But it's just interesting that, you hear these stories and, these quarterbacks, if any position is media trained correctly, quarterbacks are certainly media trained correctly. So I feel like at that time, their focus, at Alabama was so Nick Saban oriented and so on winning that, dealing with the fluff at the time, it just wasn't important because it had nothing to do with winning. It just had everything to do with gossip. But now AJ McCarron is able to, kind of say, hey, this is what really happened. I thought that was kind of dope. So, Finebaum on Manning Media. And what I'm hearing, the media frenzy for Arch Manning has been out of worldly. I seen some pictures. The pictures I saw was crazy. It looked like you can barely fit in a room. And it looks like everybody and their mama went to ask him a question. I think the SEC has breakout rooms. Mind you, I've never been to SEC media days, but it looked like they have, breakout rooms. And when I was talking to Andy Staples, he was saying that, the access isn't like it is with Big 12. Players walk up to, the radio row and, sit down and do interviews. He says it's not like that. It's a lot more buttoned up. And it should be. It's the SEC. So, but something that Finebaum said I thought was incredible. He said Joe Burrow's not an example. He said he wasn't anybody, heading into 2019. Nobody kind of knew who he was. Arch is a phenomenon before he's even a product. And yeah, that's, we've been following him since he was a freshman. Since he was a freshman and arriving in Austin, he was an early enrollee. And we wanted to see, like, hey, what could this kid bring? And then, we got to see, some of the abilities that he had earlier on during spring games, especially that second-year spring game. I mean, he absolutely lit it up. Heupel is, talking Tennessee football. A lot of people have a lot of questions about Tennessee, and a lot of that has to deal with, who's going to be the starting quarterback this year. How do we feel about the, situation? Heupel redirected, and we'll talk more about that on our governor ruling segment because we're going to kind of revisit the Josh Heupel situation and kind of see, where things went wrong for both parties and what have we learned from it, especially, while we have, SEC Media Days. Heupel's new era, our young guys don't have time to be young. I think that's an amazing quote. I think when you truly building that team of we moniker that, the volunteers like to build, and you look at the coaching staff, you look at the, Joey Hasels of the world as an offensive coordinator, look at Tim Banks as defensive coordinator, you look at, some of the guys they have, Arion Carter. I can't believe this is Arion Carter's junior year already. I remember when he first arrived to campus, so it's crazy to think that this is his third year, but I think that's a beautiful quote. Our young guys don't have time to be young. That is incredible. And then, with key departures like Nico Iamaliva, Dylan Sampson, have to start on the offensive line, key defensive players, there's no grace period. Our young guys don't have time to be young. They've got to grow early. That's incredible. And what you're seeing right now, I don't know if it's a saving face or something that Heupel truly believes, and I believe it's the latter. He truly believes that this team has college football playoff aspirations, national championship aspirations. Then as the media, it's our job to look at that, and, we have the right to feel how we feel about it. Right now, I don't see it, but, can that change week one when they play Syracuse? Absolutely. But can it stay the same and get progressively worse? Absolutely. Because if you guys think that Fran Brown not going to have his team ready to play an SEC opponent and what kind of, calibrating where Syracuse is right now, hey, it's going to be really interesting. So, Joey Aguilar and Jake Merklinger, George McIntyre, they battling it out at QB, and a host of transfers filling crucial roles. Tennessee's early slate: Syracuse, Georgia, Bama, Florida. There's no warning sprint. So I agree with Josh Heupel. They have to be ready. So let's get into, USA Today's SEC preseason rankings. Archers at the top, balls in transition. For anybody who's in journalism, SEC Media Days is a great way to get hits to your website. And even though we're not in attendance, I think we're in attendance for every other one except for the Big Ten just because it's during ACC Media Days. But, even Moon, who handles our website, took advantage of that and put a plethora of articles out. They got a lot of hits. So, if you, do articles and stuff, even, if you're with a large company or you're doing it independently, this is a great time to kind of figure out what's going on, hear the news, get articles out 100%. Or if you got inside information or you cool with this person who works at said company, then yes, this is the time you want to get out information. And here's the order, the power rankings. Texas, number 1. The Archer era begins. Georgia, number 2. Gunnar Stockton takes over. Alabama, Ty Simpson or bust. I don't think it'll be bust. You think about what they have, on that team, that wide receiver core, I think is comparable to Washington's 2023 wide receiver core. You look at what they have at running back, you look at this defense, you look at the offensive line, and you look at the fact that Kalen DeBoer has turned it up a notch as it, pertains to discipline, as it, pertains to being, more business oriented and, being more of that brand ambassador. And now that he has a full season under his belt and truly understands what life is like in Tuscaloosa, you see they're definitely turning that temperature up. So I truly expect them to have a great season. I think Ryan Grubb and Ty Simpson, go hand in hand. The success that Ryan Grubb has as an offensive coordinator will be the same as the success as Ty Simpson has at quarterback. I think that's brilliant. Number 4, LSU. Nelson Meyer returns with a vengeance. You look on paper, and I said this on No Reaction Monday last night. You look on paper, this is one of the best teams in the country. If we, just looking at paper, we look at paper. We see their roster. I've played with them on College Football 26, and I say yes, this is one of the best constructed rosters in all of college football. I agree with that 100%. But we have to see the results. And I know a lot of people are really protective over Brian Kelly, and I know one of the questions, Nino proposed, and it was a really great question. He was like, well, when has he mismanaged a situation? And for me, it's not the mismanaging of situations. It's being able to have your players ready. Like opening week, they played, USC last year, had opportunities to win. They didn't win the game. Now, can you blame that on Brian Kelly? You can. Can you blame that on the players? Yeah, you can as well. But this is a consistent thing. They're not ready on week 1. Yes, they made mental mistakes during the first year versus Florida State. The second year versus Florida State, they played really good in the first half. And then Florida State put hands and feet on them in the second half. So at what point do we start saying, hey, yes, you recruit really well. Yes, we know you're going to win 8 or 9 games every year. Yes, but when are we going to see a college football playoff berth? You look at this roster construction, you look at other roster constructions amongst the SEC, this roster is just as good as any other roster in the SEC or any roster in the nation. So we need those answers, and we need them expeditiously. Florida, DJ Lagway's healthy and hungry. I'm big on Florida this year. I'm really big on Florida. I feel like a lot of publications aren't as big on Florida, and I think that's really interesting. When I think about it, from a logistical perspective, it's just interesting. Coming in number 6, we got John Mateer, OU. Jaden Ott, Ben Arbuckle. I like it. OU has a really tough schedule this year, but if Brent Venables and that defense can play similarly to they played last year, and then we get a lot more than we got last year with Ben Arbuckle, than we got with Seth Littrell as offensive coordinator last year, look out. The Sooners can be big this year, and they can absolutely do what Tennessee did last year. Coming in number 7, Tennessee. It's kind of high for Tennessee, in my opinion. Just looking at the roster construction, yes, we believe in the coaching staff 100%. I said Tim Banks earlier. I said Joey Hazel earlier. Josh Heupel, he has everybody believing down there in Knoxville, but I need to see the results on the field. Yes, we've seen them yield results on the field last year, making a college football playoff. That's incredible, being able to, run their system and be a physical, with that Art Brown system, with the Veron shooter, some people like to call it. That's incredible. Number 8, Ole Miss. Everybody's trying to kind of calibrate Ole Miss. I'm interested to see this Austin Simmons kid. He's getting a lot of hype. And it reminds me of the movie The Program, Cain is Able. I'm excited to see that. Texas A&M. What did we get from Colin Kahn and Marcel Reed and company? That'd be interesting. Missouri. And number 10. South Carolina, number 11. That's a little low for me. But is there a world I can see them being 11 and things just not work out? Yes. But, looking at Shane Beamer, the type of coach Shane Beamer is, he's always going to have his teams ready. And I just see them being better than 11. At 12, Auburn. 13, Vandy. 14, Arkansas. 15, Kentucky. 16, Mississippi State. I don't think Mississippi State finishes last. That's just what I think. So, let's head into our next segment. Governor Reacts. And right now, we're going to kind of expound a little bit more on this Arch Manning kind of Jordan Rodgers situation, how it got started, my opinion on it. I kind of gave you guys some of my 2 cents earlier. And to be completely, transparent with you, I do see both sides of it, and I hate being neutral. But, in the end, I'll kind of tell you guys what side I'm on in this one. So let's make something real clear off the top. Arch Manning is probably the most talked quarterback in college football. The Manning media cartel is real. And really, he hasn't played a meaningful, SEC, a tough SEC game yet, if we're being honest. That alone tells you everything you need to know about the power of his last name and the weight that comes with. This kid was born to play football. You see his composure when he's interviewing. He takes his time when he's answering questions. I always know that a quarterback is truly in control of a conversation when they kind of take that breath before they answer a question, they process the question, they take the breath, and then they go on. So now Jordan Rodgers, someone who's played the position, he understands the grind, and he don't just talk ball, he know ball. Like I said earlier, I just believe that it 100% came out incorrectly. But in a way, I agree with him. Now, if we're just looking at potential, and I know Jordan Rodgers said he has a high floor, I believe his ceiling is higher than his floor, especially with somebody like Steve Sarkisian calling the play calls offensively. His ceiling is through the roof. But did Jordan Rodgers have a right to have Arch Manning as the 5th best quarterback in the SEC? Depends on who you ask. DJ Lagway, phenomenal quarterback. Lenore Sellers, a phenomenal quarterback. Garrett Nussmeier, I don't know why I was struggling with that so badly. A phenomenal quarterback, and you just look across the conference. Austin Simmons, we've been hearing a lot about him. Ty Simpson, we've been hearing a lot about him. You look across that conference, you see a lot of really good quarterbacks. Now, based on ceiling and ceiling alone, I know people are say, hey, DJ Lagway has a huge ceiling. He does. 100%, no doubt about it. Lenore Sellers has a huge ceiling, absolutely, no doubt about it. But that Manning name carries quarterback in its DNA. It really does. So the fact that he's a 3rd generation, playing at a prominent SEC program, we've seen Peyton Manning do it at, Tennessee. We've seen Eli do it at Ole Miss. I think Arch did it at Ole Miss as well, and now, Archie did it at Ole Miss as well, and now Arch is at Texas. That name means something. It deserves the media hype because we've seen what everybody else played like, and then we've seen the flashes. This kid's athleticism is, him and his grandfather are probably in the same boat, but, neither his uncles weren't that mobile at all. They weren't. So you think about the fact that he's in Steve Sarkisian's system, I think we got to be real transparent here and say, hey, that ceiling is through the roof. It's 100% through the roof. So, to be fair, I kind of gave you both sides of it. I want to analyze, both sides. This isn't about slander. Of course, I don't make clickbait content. But on one hand, you got Jordan Rodgers saying, hey, the hype is out of control, right? And, Arch is a media magnet. We saw how many people, like, Google it. If you're watching the show right now, Google it. Arch Manning breakout room, SEC Media Days. And you'll see the amount of people, like, it looked like he seriously could not breathe while he was in there. That's how crazy it was. And, it is what it is. So we seen Arch Manning get, pivotal playing time last year. Wasn't against the greatest teams, but he performed well. Like, you play who's on your schedule. The games that Quinn Ewers was hurt. It happens to be the easier part of Texas' schedule. He still dominated. He still did everything he's supposed to do. So why are we making such a big deal about it? It's kind of where I'm asking. But what Jordan Rodgers is saying is like, hey, we haven't seen this week in, week out for the full length of the season. These other guys, we have seen it week in or week out, and that's why he stands where he stands. But here's we're going to shift again and just keep it 100. That 2024 spring game. Now, I'm not real big with spring game hype, because it's scripted. It's scripted. Not that the defense is, allowing him to do this, but it's scripted for, the offense to really be successful. It really is. And Arch Manning lit it up in that 2024 spring game. And I remember saying after that, and a lot of times I don't get involved with hyperbole. I just watch college football, and I'll continue to watch, and I try to watch over, a few games before I make sound adjustments. Sometimes I need the full length of the season. But after that spring game, and Blake Shapen was another quarterback who had an outstanding spring game, I said, whoa. Hey, I know Quinn Ewers is definitely deserving to be the starter. And at that point in time, yes, he was the better quarterback. But the flashes that you saw during the spring and how he just ate the defense up, and that was, of course it wasn't the starters, but it was incredible to see. It was certainly incredible to see. You see this presence. You see his, anticipation. He does have that mobility. He could definitely get outside the pocket and make plays out of the pocket. And you know what? I think he got up to 20 miles per hour on run last year, which is incredible. But here's the thing that I really like about Arch Manning. He's doing it in an old way. It's kind of an antique way of doing things in the current college football ecosystem. Most players want to come in and start year one, Dylan Raiola, get your bumps and bruises, learn how to play the game. We are definitely going to have some struggles. We're definitely going to have some games that, we left on the table. But, hey, I want to play week one. And, I think that was really the biggest reason, other than the way Nebraska made him feel. Of course, he's a legacy athlete there. But, you look at, he's going to go to Georgia. Him and Gunnar Stockton possibly could have, fought it out for a starting quarterback. I'm not sure who would have won that. But the fact of the matter is that in this current college football ecosystem, that way is the preferred method. Hey, I'm going to, like we see with Malik Washington, I'm going to go somewhere when I have a great chance of starting. If I can't go in, prove that I am ready, be a bug in the coach's ears and show them that, hey, I'm ready to be the starting quarterback this year. Then you have that wonderful opportunity. Arch Manning went somewhere, when he got there, Malik Murphy was there. Malik Murphy, started at Duke last year, had a really good year last year. He's in Corvallis at Oregon State now. And, Quinn Ewers was there as well. So, to go there to know that, hey, I'm not going to start, but I get an opportunity to, learn the system, trust the system, and that way, we can produce in the system. That is the antique way of doing it. And I appreciate him for doing it that way. So if you're wondering why the hype is real, it's because I think people, you look at this kid, and this kid is like what you want your kids to be. He's humble. Of course, he shows it out there on the field, but he's well-spoken. You can tell he breathes football, and you can tell he's a teammate type of guy. So that's everything you want your kids to be. So why are we hyping him so much? Jordan Rodgers, well, we have the right to. He's doing it the old way. He came in, he learned, and he sat behind some really good quarterbacks. The first couple years, year 3, he's going to light it up. Yes, he's going to absolutely light it up. Steve Sarkisian is going to make sure he lights it up. Got one of the most brilliant minds in all of college football calling his plays. You know what I'm saying? So while I think Jordan Rodgers isn't all the way wrong, he ain't nowhere near right either. Arch Manning has earned the hype based on the what I've given you. The fact that he's done it the antique way. The fact that he's just said, you know what, hey, I'm going to go to somewhere that I trust, somewhere that I can build. I could have probably went to Oregon or this school or that school and earned an enormous amount of money via NIL. But hey, I'm going to go here. I know the system. I trust the system. I can produce in the system. And I am with one of the most brilliant minds in college football. We have a damn good defense. Yes, we had some change on the offensive line, but still a solid offensive line. You look at this, and the first thing that comes to your mind is saying, hey, this kid is the real deal, and he absolutely deserves that height. He's a Manning. And he, based on just skill set alone, he might be the most talented man. And if we just look at the intangibles, he may be the athleticism that he has. He can damn sure throw the ball. So, yes, while I say Jordan, what you said, I know what you wanted to say. It came out wrong. It is what it is at the end of the day. It 100% is what it is at the end of the day. And, we look at this, and then, Paul Finebaum really as I'm really interested to say, said my wife and I were Jordan biggest fans when he won the Bachelorette. But that's where that ends, and that's it's a little shot. It ain't nothing crazy, but I just wanted to really speak on this and give, I think, a little bit narrative to kind of where we at. I think this hype is absolutely deserved. Now I think I heard somebody say he's the most talented quarterback to step on the field since Tim Tebow. I'm not sure if that's the exact quote, but I know it's something along those lines. But I think he's certainly the most anticipated start, to be able to start off the season. This kid is real deal, and I'm definitely rooting for him. And I know Jordan Rodgers is too. I think he's just saying, hey, let him prove it first. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just think it came out wrong. I think it 100% came out wrong. Let's go ahead and get into Governor Ruling. Alrighty, so for Governor Ruling, we're going to revisit Heupel versus Amaliva. I think this is I wanted to revisit it a little bit earlier, but I think it was important that we waited and that we kind of waited for media days, got more intel, and kind of see where this thing is. One thing I give to Josh Heupel is he believes in his abilities, he believes in his staff abilities, he believes in his players' abilities, and he made a stern statement. And I think a lot of the coaches behind the scenes, they're not going to do it on camera, was calling him and saying like, yo, way to go, because these players have a lot of power. Now, why do these players have so much power? Well, because coaches had way too much power back in the day. That is why. It's 100% why. I want it to where, hey, the powers are split, the powers are even, but, I think a lot of people behind closed doors, a lot of coaches was like, yo, way to go, Josh Heupel. And then the fact that he didn't get the money he thought he was going to get, I think that was a silver lining for not just Josh Heupel, but for everybody else. So months ago, I issued a ruling on Tennessee head coaches Josh Heupel handling Nico. I'm a leaver. I thought that, at the end of the day, not that these players are inmates, but it's just the saying, the inmates are running the asylum. And of course, there were, some players who weren't named who it's like, hey, this violates antitrust laws. If you guys are getting paid for us making a college football playoff and we don't get none of that money on, don't they got the right to say that? Because it does violate the antitrust laws, right? If we look at people able to profit off their name, image, and likeness, why is Tennessee able to profit off of something that, yes, the coaches did earn as well, but the players are the ones playing on the field. They earned their college football playoff berth. They deserved some of the money that the college football playoff gave them. I believe it was, $20 million? They deserve some of that money on. 100% deserve some of that money on. So, while I think that, hey, in one instance, in one stance, that Josh Heupel did what was best for the team, and he gave the team a stern message like, hey, nobody is bigger than the team. And while Nico, 19 touchdowns, 5 interceptions last year, they heavily leaned on their defense and their running game, he still was productive. And I never thought that system was, that Art Browse, their Van Shoot system, I never thought that was the right system for him. If I'm being 100% transparent, I never thought that was the right system for him. And I believe, I forgot to loop that. Let's go ahead. And I don't know. I'm interested to see, in this power spread that Tino Sinceri runs, I'm interested to see how well he fits in this system. I think this system fits him a lot better than the one that, Tennessee provided with Joey Hazel and Josh Heupel. So, let's revisit some of the evidence. Nico, $2 million man, face of Tennessee's future. He's seeing everybody pockets watch in this industry. One of my personal rules is I don't pocket watch. I really don't. Ain't none of my business. Now, if it's something that I got to talk on and I'm in a civilian, pathway, like, okay, it's college football. I report on college football, so yeah, sometimes I'll talk about it. But I'm talking about IRL. I don't pocket watch. What another man's making is another man's business. That don't got nothing to do with me. Point blank, period. But Nico, I'm going to leave a $2 million man. He was the face of Tennessee's future, and he say, like, well, damn, Darian Mensah getting $8 million? Arch getting like 10 milli. He was like, hey, I led my team to the college football playoff, and you telling me a G5 quarterback who went to Duke is making $6 million more than me? Now, I think this is where the people around you have to not be pocket watchers. They have to be your back watchers, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like the people in this situation goes and say, hey, this quarterback, look what he did last year. Look at my stats. Hey, why is he getting $6 million more than him? And somebody from, a pocket watcher stands might say, hey, yeah, he shouldn't be getting that amount of money more than him. Now, we probably do need a salary cap and, it'll cap, what players make and all of that stuff. And I've talked about that before in the past. But, I think this was handled incorrectly by both parties. I don't think Josh Heupel and company handled it correctly. I don't think Nico and Nico's team handled it correctly because it was so late inside of the portal window. What did this happen, April 12th? It was extremely late inside of the portal window. And you think about the opportunities that he might have had if he had left a lot earlier. He'd had a lot more opportunities. He truly would have. And so, when you think about the winter portal, let's say if he'd have left then, he could have got that $8 million from Duke if we being transparent. But I think Nico truly wanted to play in, sunny Los Angeles. And I think they're going to be a really good team. I'm actually watching to see who wins more game this year between UCLA and Tennessee. And I know y'all looking at me like, Governor, you're tripping. Of course, Tennessee going to win more games. Okay. They can. They 100% can. But UCLA can win just the same games as well. If all things click, and I think things can click. I really like a lot of the pieces that they have over there. And that starts with Tino Sinceri. He's, former quarterback, played at Pitt. He'll understand what Nico is going through, not from an NIL perspective, but, being a leader of the team, he'll find out, what the plays that Nico really like. I think every week it will get him comfortable. And those first 15 plays, I would say like 4 or 5 of them be dedicated to the plays that Nico likes a lot, something that'll get him comfortable. So I think both parties did things that they could have done better. Nico's, whoever is, if it's his agent, if it's family, could have looked at the situation and said, okay, it's April 12th, it's real late. A lot of people's money is already tied up to their team, unless you're in Lubbock. But we will talk about that. And, the money is tied up. So you're trying to find other ways to get money, but most of your money is tied up after the, first transfer portal window. And that's why I think a lot of coaches and people in the media and myself believe that we do need to go to that one portal window. I 100% I am for that. And we also need a college, football commission. So here's what happens after this. So we see, alrighty, Nico's going somewhere. So Nico is scrambling to find a job. And whoever's the projected starting quarterback of said team is also watching the portal as well to see what Nico is landing. And kudos to Deshaun Foster. He was really honest with Joey Aguilar. He was like, hey, you've done a phenomenal job for us since you arrived here. But, Nico will probably be, ahead of you on a depth chart. You both have an opportunity to fight for the position. Joey Aguilar took that piece of information and said, wow, I came to sunny Los Angeles, and I guess I'm going to Knoxville. And it was essentially a trade. But here's where I feel like, both parties really messed up. So Tennessee, who should have got some fines for poaching, they're 100% poached. They wanted a kid from Fort Worth, and Josh Heupel. He wasn't in the portal, but they wanted him. They wanted the kid Avery Johnson from Kansas State. He wasn't in the portal, but they wanted him. And I think that, when you look at that, from just an honest perspective, you say, you guys messed up. Because, while I think Jake Merklinger and McIntyre can be good quarterbacks, that system isn't difficult to learn because it's based on, math. A lot of that system is based on math, and there's 15 route plays. And, the wide splits in the running game, you get that going. I think they'll face a lot of heavy boxes, so a lot of those throws will be easy throws. Get it out on, the perimeter and make some plays. I think that's a lot we're going to see with Tennessee. They're going to have the ability to play defense. Tim Banks, it's time that we start hearing Tim Banks' name for some head coaching jobs, even if it's at the G5 level. He's done a phenomenal job during his time in Knoxville. He really has. So, on the other side, I talked about kind of Heupel side of it. I think Nico's side truly messed up with a misunderstanding of the market, not understanding thoroughly that, hey, a lot of teams' money was already, spent, and he essentially took a pay cut. But I think you sometimes take a pay cut to, gain in the end. And I think his peace of mind and sanity is back home. UCLA has a lot of potential this season, so hey, I like it. So SEC Media Days, let's talk about that. Josh Heupel finally broke silence on Nico's departure. He said it's never about who's not in your building, and it is about who is in your building. He's right. He's 100% right. You might classify that as coach speak, but at the end of the day, he's 100% right. We continue to talk about a guy that left, where we in July? He left 3 months ago. Why are we still talking about him? So I get it. And I feel like that's something that he prepared or his team prepared. Like, yeah, it's not about who's in your, not about who's not in your building, but it's about who's in your building. I love that. Focus forward, control what you can control. But, the program invests a lot of money into, and build the offense around Nico's skill set and the fact that he's gone. And then the options that they had, were limited. It'll be interesting. My boy, Dennis Noel, man, I love the way this guy thinks, man. D-Now. And, we've been watching the Jake Retzlaff situation and seeing that we think there's an ugly trend that's about to be started in college football where the transfer portal, unless they make pivotal changes, that people like Xavier Lucas, a Wisconsin quarterback who withdrew and went to MIAO, we see Jake Retzlaff because, BYU wasn't allowing him to enter the portal. Yes, he broke their policy, and he was aware of the policy, and he broke it. Yeah, I get it. Now, did he break any rules at any other institution? I don't know if any, other institution has the non-fornication clause like, BYU does, but he didn't break any other rule at any other institution, and he was kind of painted at a villain in this situation. But D-Now was saying, I can see Jake Retzlaff going to Tennessee, and that would really, really, really throw some salt in the wound. And I know for sure that, Joey Aguilar be like, you can't make this up. Like, if I'm him, I'm pulling up with withdrawal, bro. Yeah, I promise you, I am. But, I look at, George McIntyre. I look at Joey Aguilar. I look at Jake Merklinger, and I say that, hey, can these quarterbacks be formidable in a system that is built upon and based upon easy reads? Yes, they can be formidable, but there's those intangible plays that you need, quarterbacks to be able to make them. We see Nico make some of those plays last season. I don't think it's in none of their skill set, to be honest with you. So this is where I look at this and I say, okay, well, fall camp, I'm paying attention to Tennessee's fall camp just as much as anybody's fall camp, if I'm being honest. But can they turn this on its ear and win a lot of ball games this year? Absolutely. So that's my Governor Ruling segment. We're going to take an ad break, and then we're going to get into our Around the Nation segment. Look at you out here using all these other sports books, and you ain't even using the best one. BetUS. Get 125% match bonus when you use the promo code CFB Nation. Yeah, you heard me correctly. 125% match bonus on your first deposit using that code CFB Nation. We know that college football is in the offseason, even though we don't celebrate that. CFB Nation, we do college football 24/7, but there are plenty of things for you guys to bet on.
Who will have the most wins? OKC Thunder or Cleveland Cavaliers? Can Luka and LeBron make it all mesh to make it to the play-in tournament? Maybe you're a college basketball guy ready to risk it all for Florida to make it to the big dance.
Basketball isn't for you? Maybe you're a football guy. Well, BetUS got you covered with this year's UEFA Championship. Can Liverpool or Barcelona win it all? Will Erling Haaland or Harry Kane lead their teams to victory?
May is going to get popping when the Kentucky Derby hits town. BetUS has you covered in that way too, with all major horse racing events. Point is, type in that promo code CFB Nation and go get that money.
Alrighty, and we're back. So Around the Nation, Bleacher Report did a piece on, Dynasty. Who are the best teams to use in Dynasty in college football 26. We're going to read kind of, where they feel about it, how they feel about it, and I'll tell you my takes about the game, how I'm feeling about the game so far. There's a population of people who really hate this game. I don't get it. I don't understand it. To say this is copy and paste, it is not. I wish I had an answer for you. I wish I can help you, figure out what your issue is with this game. And I don't know. I've enjoyed the game. Of course, there are things that every video game can be better, but that's just based on my skill and how I feel about college football. I think a lot of people who play these video games are video game heads. I'm college football first, then the video game. That's the difference. Like, last week, I could have bought the game early to get it on Monday. I was at Big 12 Media Days. You guys think I don't care about playing a video game while I'm at Big 12 Media Days? No. I'm not going to care about it playing this at ACC Media Days or American Media Days. I'm not going to care about it. I'm not. It just is what it is. So I am a college football fan first. That's the thing everybody needs to know. So it's dope to see coaches in the game for me. It's dope to see the players that are in the game and that their names are in the game. I grew up in an era where you had to, roster share to get rosters. That's the era I grew up in. Or you had to buy a memory card when eBay was popping, and that memory card gets sent to you. You copy it to your memory card, and then you pass the memory card around. Like, I'm from that era of playing college football. I'm always going to be a college football fan first. Some of you guys are video game heads first, and you know nothing about college football. I was watching a really big streamer the other day. He was playing Road to College Football Playoff. He was like, real players don't want the stadium atmosphere. I forgot what it's called, when the stadium be shaking and stuff. I'm like, what? And this guy played college football, so it was just weird to me. Like, they give you 12 games, 6 at home, 6 on the road. Like, deal with the adversity. If you got a team with a young quarterback and you expecting that young quarterback to deliver in a system, and his awareness is low, yes, it's going to be difficult to get the calls out. Like, how much do you guys watch college football is the question I have to ask. So if you're not a lover of college football first, you're probably not going to be a huge fan of this game. But to see what we see IRL and actually be around the game the way that we are around the game, we love the game. The people who don't love the game probably just aren't big fans of college football, and are probably just waiting for Madden to come out, or just go and play 2K8 with the greatest graphics ever, right? I don't know. Like I said, you got people who are game nerds, and I love playing the video games. Like, I love playing 2K. You know what I'm saying? Especially the Pro-Am and the Rec. You can play with the homies, and we play basketball in real life. We all older now, don't play as much as we like, but we can play it on the game. Like, does the game need a lot of improvements? Absolutely, but I like basketball, bro, so I enjoy it. So I think some of y'all complaining are just complaining to complain. I just wanted to say that first. Now we'll look at this piece by Bleacher Report and kind of get down to how they feel about it. Alrighty, so Dynasty Mode is deep this year. And I didn't plan on buying Madden this year because, one, you guys know, like, I watch the Buffalo Bills. Other than that, not the biggest fan of the NFL. I will watch the Buffalo Bills every week. This week, though, I'm traveling so much, it's going to be hard to keep up with the games that I'm not attending. So my Sundays will be utilized to catch up on those games and get ready for my week's worth of work. But, yeah, let's look at some of the best teams to use. Arizona State. Josh Pate called Arizona State America's team. They're the team of the moment, man. You look at what Sam Levitt can do at quarterback. And it was dope being at Big 12 Media Days. I told y'all somebody from the EA Creator Network was, interviewing the players while he was playing the game. And then Sam Levitt just says, watch this. He ran a flood concept to the left, and he knew exactly how the defense was going to react. He said, this is one of our plays in real life, and he threw a touchdown and walked away. I'm like, that's crazy. It's in the game. It's truly in the game. So Arizona State, team of the moment. Sam Levitt, 91 overall. Jordan Tyson at 94 overall. You see the motion that Arizona State had at Big 12 Media Days. You understand it, and you get it. Why a lot of people are just super duper high on this team. I get it 100%. Ball State is a team that a lot of people are saying is the ultimate rebuild. I think the ultimate rebuild, me personally, I think it's one of the newer teams that are, joining the FCS level, or somebody who recently joined the FCS level like Kennesaw State. But, yeah, Delaware and Missouri State, I think, are the teams who are the ultimate rebuild, but I can see what they say. Ball State, again, is the lowest ranked team in the game. They were the lowest ranked team in the game last year, and then I did a Ball State Dynasty. I actually won a national championship with Ball State playing on Heisman. Did I run broken plays? Absolutely. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. You know what I'm saying? SMU was a really fun team to use. The Rhett Lashley system is amazing. Kevin Jennings. It's lights out. You got a really fast running back in Chris Johnson Jr. I like the team a lot. And then they got some of those teams that they consider like easy button teams, like Ohio State would be a fun team to use. I haven't used them online yet. I haven't, but you look at the Cardinal Tates of the world. You look at the Jamar Smiths of the world, who's 98 overall. Caleb Downs is 96 overall. There's every reason to want to use Ohio State, for sure. Army, triple option purist. My boy Jamel, shout out to Jamel. He's my college roommate all 4 years. He was one of those people who always, and my video died again. He's like one of those people who always love using the military academies. And he would do a league with them, and he would run their system too, because at the university we went to, the system that they ran What's like that Flexbone system. So he enjoyed using it. So he always, start up a dynasty, rebuild, and always be one of the military academies. So that'll be real fun. Boise State, the G5 blueprint. I think if you're in a dynasty, it's uncapped. The teams you can use. Everybody running to the SEC. Everybody running to the Big 10, ACC, and Big 12. And ain't really knit too many people in the Mountain West. Go get a UNLV or Boise State. Go stay out there. You'll make the college football playoff every year, and then you get the other job offers that you want. But you won't earn it. I think that's a true, fun team to use. The blue turf is amazing. So, yeah, Tennessee. Tennessee can be a fun team to use this year. They got a decent running game. Their system, I'm starting to like the Veer Shoot system before. You guys know I've been a huge proponent against it. But now I feel like in this year's version of the game, with the RPOs that are as amazing as they are, those wide splits, you can really take advantage of the mismatches. And if teams don't load the box, your ability to run the ball is phenomenal. So, yes, I can see why Tennessee will be fun. They had UNLV up here. I like UNLV. You're in Las Vegas. It shouldn't be difficult to recruit to Las Vegas. You got Alex Orji at quarterback. Calandria as the backup. My dog, Jaden Thomas at running back. They got a really good team. So I like that pick, to be honest with you. Penn State, of course. Penn State, one of the best constructed rosters on the game. They have a really fun playbook this year, too. I wasn't a huge fan of their playbook last year. I like their playbook a little bit more this year. They got a lot of Wildcats. Shout out to EA Sports, too. They created the gadget position. So that way you can put the person you want at your gadget position, and that way, it's universal for your Wildcats and all your other, type of sets where you need somebody who's a gadget type player. So I like that a lot. And then they have insert your squad, the one that feeds your soul. So if you're a lifelong, Texas A&M, Gig'em fan, and you go to a bunch of the games, you use Texas A&M, and you feel like you're really in this, in the stadium. Or if you like Virginia Tech and you want to hear It's a Sandman every time you got a home game, hey, you can do that. That's dope as hell. So I'm in a couple of dynasties right now. I'm in a one-star dynasty. I got Buffalo. Shout out to my boy Philly. That's his league. I'm also in a 2-1 cap dynasties, but I went with teams I like a lot. I told you guys who I was going to use. I got Baylor in one dynasty. We 3-0. We showing out. My guy Sawyer Robinson just broke the all-time Big 12 passing touchdown record. Yeah, it was against the FCS team, but I don't care. Hey, man, we going to kick it while we down. I don't care. But and then I got Louisville in one dynasty as well, and that dynasty got 32 teams. So that'll be interesting using them. It's not a lot of teams in the ACC, but of course, Clemson is there. Of course, Miami is there. They have the other team, but I feel like a lot of people don't know about Louisville. So I'm just gonna have a bunch of plays that just put, my running backs on the forefront. So those are the dynasties I'm in right now. I'm doing really well. The one dynasty I did join a week or two late, so Louisville has a loss, but I'm not worried about that. We'll handle business. We'll get to the ACC championship, and we'll make the playoff. This Big 12 one, I think I got my biggest game coming up. It's either next week or the following week against Arizona State, but Philly does have a loss in the season, so hopefully we can continue our winning ways. Man, Josh Cameron is out for 8 weeks, bro. I was hurt because he was killing it. He was averaging 9-10 catches a game. So now my wide receivers has truly took a hit. So like I said, I'm excited for this. There was one interview we didn't get to yesterday, so I'm gonna play that and then we'll close out the episode. Well, actually, we did get to all of them. We did. I thought we did. No, we didn't get to all of them. I just never loaded it in. Alrighty, give me a second. I'm gonna load it in now.
I am here at Big 12 Media Days with Mr. Mood to Change himself. Number 1, TCU Horned Frogs, Mr. Eric McAllister. How are you feeling today, good sir? How was the plane ride coming out here?
Sure, being right down the street, that 45-minute drive in that traffic was not bad, but it was definitely some time in the traffic.
Yeah. So, I know we got your quarterback right behind us.
Yep.
How do you feel about his growth and development since you've been here, and what you've seen so far?
I know when I first got here, Hoover didn't go in that spring with us, so something wrong with his back, and I know coming into August he's gonna be a little hectic on throwing and how comfortable he was. But you can see throughout the season he got more uncomfortable. So we just had a great spring. You can see that the growth and the development, the balls he's throwing, and the way he's throwing them, and the way he's moving in the pocket. So I think one more fall camp, and then going into the season is gonna be a dangerous game we're gonna be playing on Saturdays.
When it comes to you as a wide receiver, what are some of the things that you wanted to work on in this offseason heading into 2025?
Getting in and out of my cuts, top of my brakes on whether it's a comeback or a curl, adding more top of the route releases, not just like, a roll cut or a square cut, adding more, or something like that. So it's just not just being a bland receiver, adding a lot more to my bag. So I'm not just doing the same thing throughout the whole game.
Yeah. You had 19.5 yards per catch in 2024. You were an absolute monster. You had a game-winning touchdown against Texas Tech. Let's flash back to that moment. What did that feel like for you? Because it felt like watching. It was like a coming-out party for you, really to the whole nation.
I'm just all game. I'm begging Hoop, like, hey, just look my way. I'm telling my coach, like, hey, I'm open on damn near every route I'm running, so let's get the ball my way.
Yeah.
For that last drive we go in, Savion tells me to go in. He's a starter, but he tells me to go in, and who looks my way, throws that ball. That feeling was just ungreat. Fans coming up to me after the game saying you saved the game, like all that's like just a surreal feeling. So I was blessed, very blessed in that moment for sure.
It's a blessing to be at TCU as well, like in Horned Frogs University. How has your reception been since you've been here over just the last year, and how for somebody that hasn't been to Fort Worth, how would you describe it?
I'm from here, I'm right from Fort Worth. I went to high school not even 25 minutes from Fort Worth, And so great city, great town. I kind of already knew a lot of people, but I kind of already know how the atmosphere is. Mm-hmm. If I had to describe Fort Worth to someone that's not here.
Because it's our first time being out here.
I would say it's a blue collar city, It's gritty, but people work for what they got down here. So, it's all earned, it's all respected, Don't take disrespect, don't got disrespect. So just...
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They see it right there.
So you a matchstick in this offense, but somebody else said we call a matchstick is Coach Sonny Dykes. How's your relationship grown with Coach since you arrived to where we are now at Media Days?
I feel like me and Coach Sonny Dykes have gotten closer since I've been here. A lot of ups and downs with what I've been through, and he's been right there to help me. Mm-hmm. So, with the dinner last night, he's a pretty welcoming guy. He's not one of those guys who knows he's the head coach and talks to big dog people. He's down to earth. He's gonna talk to you like you're a normal person. You're gonna talk to him like he's a normal person. He's just a great guy.
Yeah, that's love. So we talk about your overall growth. We talked about the things that you wanted to work on heading into 2025. Are you a player that likes to make goals, or do you have expectations? How do you go about it?
I got a lot of goals and expectations for myself. And I kind of like to set my goals untouchable, unreached. Mm-hmm. Some stuff that no one's done before. I got a goal this year. Be top 5 in Heisman race, touch 1,500 yards, win the Big 12, make it to the national championship. Those are all my goals. And are those realistic goals? Yeah, but are they some goals that are going to take some work? They're also going to take some work. So
you got to shoot for the stars, land on the moon type vibes. I love that. How was bowl season for you? What was that experience like?
I ain't gonna lie, we felt disrespected. Yeah. No disrespect.
I shouldn't have been playing in Mexico.
No disrespect to the team we played, but we felt disrespected that they sent us to the New Mexico Bowl and we beat Tech, and they're playing against Arkansas. So no disrespect to the team we played. We just felt disrespected that we got put in that bowl. Seeing teams that we beat put into a bigger bowl.
Yeah. All right. Rapid fire questions. We do this for everybody just to make you comfortable. You ready?
Let's go.
Top 3 artists in your playlist.
Young Boy, Hurricane Wisdom, Big A.O.
Okay. What's your pregame meal of choice?
I'm going to go potatoes, sour cream, cheese, bacon, and I'm going to go spaghetti.
Okay. All right. Describe TCU's student section in a sentence.
I really can't even explain it for real. I would say snowy.
Mm-hmm. If we talk about your toughest DB matchup in the TCU locker room, who is it?
It's actually a couple. I'm gonna say Vaughn. I'm gonna say Channing. Channing's fast. Vaughn's long.
Yeah.
Pause. But Vaughn's long. Channing's fast.
Canada got them hands, man. If you had to say something to your family, give a special shout out to your family, look in the camera and shout them out.
I'm gonna shout out my aunt, uncle that took care of me, getting them. Shout out my best friends back home, Jake, Jackson, Shane, Jesse, all them boys, Jason, Slade, everybody, Misty, Brian, my coaches back home from Azle, Derek, Devin, Coach Bonds, all them. Big shout out to all you guys. Y'all helped me get where I am today. Appreciate y'all.
Sir. Favorite play call to hear in the huddle?
1040, go deep.
Breakfast cereal that you can only eat for the rest of your life. What's your choice?
Fruity Pebbles.
My dog.
Come on.
Number one, Mr. Eric McAllister, TCU wide receiver. We're going to be in the Heisman race this year. Better bet.
Watch out.
You heard it first. Shout out to TCU Horned Frogs fans. Can you tell the nation? Shout out to College Football Nation.
Shout out to College Football Nation. Great interview.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, dog.
Appreciate you.
Governor of college football. We're going to recap ACC.
Hey, that's
Great
CJ on
defensive
the
minds.
track.